Now switch them on. Yeah. Switch if you can help her, Joanne. And a big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight program. Good morning, Rim Country. Chris Higgins in the studio. Hope you're having a great Tuesday morning and enjoying the clouds in the sky. It's got a nice cooler weather, some clouds in the sky, and it is going to be another beautiful day here in Rim Country. Well, this morning we're going to be talking about the school override with our guests, and that is School Superintendent Linda Gibson. Also, good morning. Also with the Payson Unified School District, Kathie Manning. Good morning, Kathie.
Good morning.
And Joanne Conlin. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning. Thank you for letting us be here.
Oh, you are so welcome. Yeah, it's well, I feel it is very important to get accurate information out to people in the community so they actually know what they're voting on, and they can hear real facts, real numbers, get real information. I know we're always encouraging people, hey, come to town council meetings.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
you know, see for yourself, hear for yourself. You know, just because it's on Facebook doesn't mean it's maybe true, or people that, you know, really believe something or share something, but it might not be factual. It does happen. It's crazy, but it happens. So it's great. Thank you so much for taking the time, to come in this morning to share information about the school override, what it is, the impact it has in the school district, dollar amounts, just all of that. So do you want to start us off on the school override? I think the big thing, one thing that people might not be aware of is they just hear, oh, school override and tax, and there's enough taxes, and no more taxes, and no more taxes. If someone votes yes for the school override, does that mean that they're going to see a tax increase, Joanne?
There is no tax increase. Everything stays as is. So a yes vote really means nothing to you, but it means a lot to the school. And talking about the override, I just want to remind everybody, this is a mail-in ballot. And you can either drop your ballots off at the Gila County Courthouse or mail it in. But if you're going to mail it in, you should have it in, mail it no later than November 1, because they do not accept a postmark date.
Gotcha.
It has to be received by November 7. So that's really important.
That is something that is different than other elections, or where it just has to be postmarked by that date. But in this situation, it has to be received, so you don't want to delay. If you have your ballot, in fact, talking to a friend this morning, I said, hey, did you vote yet? And oh, wait, what is it, that yellow thing that came in the mail? Yes, that's what it is. You need to do that. Do that. Don't wait.
One piece I just want to add, and then I know each of us has some pieces, but something I just recently received is the concern that this is about market value taxes. This is assessed value taxes. And we all know that in our Payson community, the market value of our house, if we go to sell it, is significantly higher than the assessed value of our house. And thank goodness we are not taxed on the market value of our homes. And so when people see in the voter pamphlet information that was sent out to voters approximately 3 weeks ago, give or take, it's on the assessed value, and it's been hard for people, from what I've heard, to understand that our average assessed value in Payson is just under $200,000. But that is factual, research-based information. Again, it's not market value, it's assessed value.
Gotcha.
And everybody probably has gotten their property tax bills. They came, I think, the beginning of October. And so if you look over in the secondary tax column, which is on the right, you'll see something that says override, and you can see how small it is. It's only about approximately $53 per 100,000 of limited assessed value. So around 53 to 100, $200 max.
So with you just saying that the average assessed value of a home in Payson is 200,000.
Roughly, and again, that was in the voter pamphlet,
Yeah.
research base that legal actually puts together.
So say it is, the assessed value of your home is 200,000, and what you're saying, Kathy, is $53 per 100,000.
Mhm.
So that tax would be $106
Mhm.
approximately for a home that has an assessed value of $200,000, which
Yes.
is the average
Correct.
in
Mhm.
Payson. So $106 over the course of a year.
Yes.
That is, if it did not pass, if the school override, that tax was not there, that's what the impact it would have to the average resident in Payson, the average household. Now granted, if your assessed value of your home is $100,000, then $53 for an entire year, that is it, versus the impact that it has on the school and the collective amount. That has to be pretty significant, isn't it?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what is that? I mean, what are we talking about, the school override, what that pays for? Or
Great.
what is that?
Do you want to speak to
provide?
kind of numbers of what override amount kind of comes in? I'll let Kathy speak since at the table.
Sure. So the override is an additional 10% of our base support level.
Mhm.
So it's of our maintenance and operation fund only.
Mhm.
The 10% has been right around about $1.8 million. We often have had a budget around 18 million
Mhm.
in M&O. So
Gotcha.
it fluctuates year to year, but
Uh-huh.
about $1.8 million, and that has funded 23 classroom teaching positions. So Linda can speak more about the actual subject matter and the programs that are affordable to students as a result.
Mhm.
So when you talk about the classroom teachers, the 23 positions that it affects, you're talking about our K-12 band, choir, physical education. You're also talking about our dual enrollment program classes that we have at the high school level, as well as advanced placement classes. It also ties into technology as well. And speaking regarding technology, we are probably one of the most technology advanced school district in Arizona. When we go to even some larger, I think people tend to think, oh, a larger district has this. They don't. When you look at that, we have Promethean boards and kids are working with high-end technology that we have. It's quite profound. The other thing also I want you to know, and I was just in with some PD with some teachers talking about technology with students. It's not just about students being on computers and using technology. I just want to enunciate the level of technology that we do have. But when it comes to educating students, it's in all capacities at all levels, whether it's paper pencil, whether it's collaboration, whether it's team effort, whether it's teacher driven, whether it's student driven presentation. There are an array of elements to all of us learning new content within the classroom, and it's not just about students being on a computer. In that sense. So when we talk about the impact, we're talking about impacting students that are college bound, career bound, anything in that level about their future if these programs were to diminish. And even though there are people out there that believe that band, music, choir, PE do not play into our academics, they very much have a significant impact on academics in the classroom, for students to be able to exercise their brains in a variety of capacities so that they become well-rounded learners and citizens in society.
What came to my mind was overall development.
Yes.
Just overall development of our young people. There's a big impact there.
Absolutely.
So it might not be something they are going into or they enjoy at the moment, but just the overall development.
This has been the same, sorry Kathy, since approximately 2005 of where the money has gone to and what it's continued to be. We've been consistent, we have with that and where the money's being spent on since that time. And prior to that is because we had those cuts at the state level with funding that we didn't have those programs because we didn't have the money to be able to make them work. Kathy?
Also, the advanced placement classes and the dual enrollment classes have really set our students up for the ability to be competitive in scholarships.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a technical school they're attending or college, it has played a major role in their ability to qualify for scholarships.
Yeah, the dual enrollment classes have been incredible. I know we've had so many students through the years on this program share their experience while at Payson High School, the amount of credits that they've earned, certificates, and it's interesting. I love the stories that when they go to a college, they're looking at a college and an orientation, and they're talking with other high school students from around the state or other states. And they share, oh, we have, this program, NAVID or Aspire, and this is what we're able to do, and this is what we've done. And other students are shocked. They're like, what? Really? We have nothing like that. Wait, it's paid for? It's all paid for. And they're like, yeah. So it's great, what we do have. Yeah, there's things that we don't have, but that's any community. And but it's great what we've been able to provide our students over the years.
There's another component in there too, which we didn't speak to, is really, and it's been questioned, where have we provided some financial support for gaps in our learning, post-COVID. And this also funding is also used for our reading specialist as well as math interventionist. And that's more K-8 in that capacity to help students to fill in that gap, as well as our federal funds, which was the intention of them to help students to fill in those gaps as well from learning loss during that time.
So something else that people might have heard said about this subject. Well, the school district, you have all this extra money. I know that's been said in regards to the town as well. I have all this extra money and you don't need this because of just all these extra funds you have. Now, is that true?
I would love to speak about that. This is Kathie Manning. I'm the Director of Business Services for the school district. And there was a recent letter to the editor in the newspaper. There's also been some voice around town that is pointing at a superintendent's annual report and alleging that we as a district have not submitted our annual report. I believe there is confusion. The superintendent's annual report that the numbers are pulling some valid information from is actually not our school superintendent, Linda Gibson. This report is compiled by Tom Horn, the state school superintendent of public education. And he takes our reports that are submitted by October 15th, which the school district submitted on September 26th to the Department of Education, and proudly has a link on our website for anybody to view. And he compiles all of the school district's annual financial report information into a state report. He produced that last year in January of 23 for the 21-22 year. So the annual report that we recently submitted, we expect to see that in the superintendent's report that he will probably submit to the governor in January of 24.
Okay.
So that was the first thing that we wanted to clear up. Regarding the allegations that the district has $10 million that we are hiding or not being transparent about. That is very misleading. It is referring to the 21-22 state superintendent's report that was issued for Payson. And that 21-22 report does show a $10 million ending cash balance. However, that is all funding sources. It is not just the tax levy funds, and it's been adjusted by the state by about $2.3 million for principal that was paid on bonds. Now, I don't really understand why the state finds that adjustment necessary, because we really did make the payment and it's included in the expenses on the report. So we really ended the year with closer to $7 million. Of that, about $5 million was federal funds due to ESSER. So it's a little misleading to say we're sitting on $10 million and we don't need the money. I think it's very evident in the state of Arizona that districts need every penny they're receiving, and our governing board, along with our staff, including the superintendent and business office, we take being good stewards of taxpayers' money very seriously. So we strategically produced carryover, not produced, but saved carryover, so that we would have a contingency available when the ESSER funds, which is the federal COVID money, go away. So it was very intentional and well thought out.
And maybe we should explain what the ESSER funds are. Not some people might not know, but that was one-time money that was given by the federal government to help school districts through the COVID period. We were lucky to get 3 different ESSER grants that we had to apply for, right? And we've spent them, it's all one-time money, so it's gone to a variety of things, including transportation, some
So
new
staffing and of positions, because it was to help to offset the decrease in ADM within school districts, and also to take care of some capital project needs within school districts as well. Majority of ours went to assuring that we had adequate staffing and was able to pay for that staffing with a decrease in ADM during those years. And ESSER funds is something that was within all industries and organizations to receive. There was an allocation. Within that allocation to the school district, we do have to abide within the guidelines, so not anything can be put into the use of ESSER funds. And those funds they must be either used or they go away in the fall of 2024. And so when Kathie speaks to us being diligent about assuring that we have the ability to continue on and think forward rather than backwards, or get ourselves in a predicament where, oh my gosh, ESSER's out, how are we going to pay for this? We strategically worked to save and make sure that we weren't being frivolous with our funds, to have a carryover balance, to build a contingency to address these positions and have the capacity to be able to still fund them. Within that, of those pieces, also looking at some large capital improvements in the future here as well. So we want to make sure that we're strategic about making sure that we do not run out of money. To simplify it, to be financially responsible within even our families or as an individual, we always want to have a savings over here for those rainy days or when things happen. And we all are experiencing, every person in the U.S. has experienced the increase in inflation drastically, and that affects us as well. So we're not immune to those extra costs, and where $1 million years ago went a little bit further than $1 million does these days.
I know we've seen examples of this in different organizations in the community. So the sanitary district, Green Valley Water, when they did their expansion, they had that money in the bank, and I know there were individuals in the community that saw that and said, wait a second, they shouldn't be charging the impact fees and their rate shouldn't be so high because they have millions of dollars in the bank, but it was allocated for paying for their expansion. So they didn't have to borrow money, they had the money in the bank. Also, the town of Payson, our water department, has money in the bank to pay for the replacement of water lines that they've known, will have to be done. So they've been saving money to put towards that. And some people will look at that and say, wait, why are rates so high, or they shouldn't be this high, because there's all this money in the bank that they have, but it's allocated. It's allocated for those things, and that's just proper planning. It's proper budgeting, and it is not a bad thing. It's not a case where anyone's hiding money, or and the rates and all of it is calculated to be able to pay for those things. So that way, they are not in a financial crisis.
That is exactly correct, and a good example of this is it has been alleged that we were outside the legal limit by carrying over the amount that we're carrying over. And in prior years, the Arizona Revised Statutes limited us to a 4% carryover in our maintenance and operation fund. When we went to current year funding, meaning our current fiscal year's budget is built on the number of students we're serving this year, and in the past it was built off the number of students we served the previous year. The 4% limit was removed, and it's encouraged to carry over, because you have to be in a position now where if the students do not show up in seats in the fall, and we've already adopted a budget, we may be in a position where if it was based on projected number of students that actually didn't come to fruition, then we have to revise our budget down accordingly. So the contingency is even more important now, to have a sufficient contingency to be able to adapt to the flux of the number of students we're serving.
And is it the same, I know, with the town? The town cannot adjust its budget up. It can decrease it, but it cannot increase it. Is that the same with the school district, where you set a budget, and if you need to make adjustments, you can make them down, but can you increase your budget out of the budget cycle?
You can now.
You can
it
now?
used to be similar to the town, where we could only increase it down
decrease
once
it,
the
yeah.
taxes were set.
Yeah.
Because the tax rate is actually set based on the adopted budget, but when they went to current year funding, that is no longer the case, where you can only adjust it down, because if your ADM increases, you also need to be able to adjust it up. The tax rate doesn't change.
Yes, yeah.
The equalization, so the portion that the state kicks in, would be adjusted as more ADM comes in.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Again, talking with School Superintendent Linda Gibson, also Kathie Manning from the school district, and Joanne Conlin about school override, and just getting some information, some accurate information out to you guys listening and watching. Again, the ballots have been mailed out. They're the yellow envelopes that you should have received in the mail. And the deadline for that, again, Joanne, they must be received before November 4th, is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you're going to mail them, mail by November 1.
Okay.
Otherwise, just drop them off at the Gila County Courthouse.
Yep, yeah, the new Gila County building, there's a drop box, I believe, on the northwest corner of the building, and you can drop it off there. And I believe there's other drop-off locations as well, not sure where they are, but I
That's
think
the only one
I know that's a
the
good
only
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's
There
a
might
good
be more, that's the only one I'm aware of.
Yeah, and it's
gotcha.
just
Okay.
opposite the post office.
Yeah, so
easy to
very
find.
easy. Or mail it in, but again, just make sure that it is mailed in early. Do not wait until the 4th. to mail that in.
Please do not.
Please do not.
And Chris, I do want to just, while Linda and Kathy are here, I want to give them kudos. I've learned that we are now a B
We are.
district,
We
and
are a
that
B
is
district.
awesome. You can see that everything that they've done since COVID, just to get the kids up to snuff and doing, having good academic excellence
Jen.
is showing with the B schools now. Very proud of that.
Still
And
striving for an A, that's what we're going for. We'd like to be
That's
an A
next year,
school
next
district,
year.
but we are a
Once
B,
that,
so.
once that override says yes, we're in for the A for sure.
Yes, we are not a C, we are a B.
And before we move on though, can you briefly explain what that means? Because there's some people maybe that, don't know
Sure, there's
what that
this,
means.
there's an estate accountability measure for school districts, as well as school sites, so
Mhm.
of course, schools within the district. Our schools that receive school letter grades are Julia Randall Elementary School, Rim Country Middle School, and Payson High School. The state does not yet, I say, have an accountability measure for K-2 schools.
Mhm.
However, we do have accountability measures within district.
Mhm.
And so collectively with our site school letter grades, Payson Unified School District is considered a B school district.
Okay, and how is that, some people might hear a B and they say, oh, B, why not an A? or
Yeah,
this or
yeah,
that.
you know what,
But a B
we-
is very significant.
B is extremely significant. We've, previously collectively as a district and been more of a C district, so we're very proud of moving to a B, striving for an A. And think of it as grade point averages when you think of it for the district, that we have a B grade point average across the board with what we are accomplishing. And what ties into that is growth and proficiency. Growth is a key concept, growth, not just proficiency on state assessments and ACT tests at the high school level, but it also ties into our English language learners and their progress, as well as college and career readiness index scores in high school in terms of other components that students do throughout their high school years, such as CTE classes, number of CTE classes, number of dual enrollment classes they take, and so forth. So there's an array of pieces that play into it. A science assessment, there's bonus points for how students do there, for how those numbers are tallied in terms of how a letter grade is determined for a school district.
Isn't the high school up for a special award?
They are, so I'm glad you bring that up. We are super excited that Payson High School is a finalist for the A+ award. Congratulations to Jeff Simon, head principal at Payson High School. For this, there will be a visit from the organization in terms of meeting with different groups. One, to really, again, check accountability measures for what has been presented to the A+ board for recognition. Huge accomplishment to be a finalist, and we're super excited to see where that leads and everything. And again, ties into all of those pieces. It ties into the continuity of teachers, leadership, growth and proficiency scores, and so forth.
Wow, that is great. And there was something else you wanted to mention.
Very exciting, talking about being fiscally responsible. The district has had 0 audit findings for the last 4 consecutive years, and this is not normal. Typically, I think about 20 to 30 findings you get, but this is huge. We need to be very proud of our district, very proud.
Our business
of-
service office and
Yes.
director are fabulous, they're
Yes,
amazing.
and they've actually received awards on excellent for financial representation. So I don't want our community to think that something is going wrong. We're audited, we're looked at very closely, and all I can say is that our school district, we should be proud of our school district, very proud of them.
Yep.
So, yeah, and I know that we're wrapping up, but I do want to just say, please vote yes. This is about our children, and it's about our children's success. So we need to make sure that we're giving them everything that they need, so it's best foot forward in this world to come, as they grow into good citizens. So hopefully everybody will vote yes for this. And know that if you do have a problem, our school district is very open and they welcome you to come, ask the questions, and they're there to give you the facts, the real facts. Go to the school board meetings, go to the workshops when they talk about budget if you're concerned. It's there and they're open and they want to be very transparent about everything they do.
Mhm. And I think that's very important, is that you go to the school, or people that work at the school, that are involved in the school. If you don't have children in the school or grandchildren in the school, and you don't really have anyone to talk to, about this, go to school board meetings, attend those, but take the time to talk to people that are actually working in the schools, involved in the schools, instead of listening to people that really don't contribute to the schools at all. They don't contribute, they don't invest, aren't involved, but they try and convince people that they know what's happening and that these things are happening in the school that are bad, that are terrible, that just are not right, but yet they're not close to the schools to really know. I don't know where the information, I guess pulling bits and pieces from different sources allows people to put together a narrative that kind of fits their opinion of the school district or the schools. But all of my interactions, from having teachers and students and coaches in on our community spotlight program, or being at school events, we have amazing staff, teachers, people that work at the schools, and students. I mean, we have incredible young people, and by not voting for this, money's being taken away from them for their education and for their overall development. And that's who would get hurt. I know Judy Parham was on an earlier program and talked about the impact it had in her classroom as a physical education teacher, and the impact she saw on students at the time when it wasn't approved. And then I think it was approved the following year because it was realized the mistake that was made. The negative impact it had on students, it was a mistake and it was corrected. But it was unfortunate that it took people seeing that and seeing the negative impact it had on children in the community to realize, oh wow, this isn't good. We messed up as a community. So it was fixed the following year, but that's an example. Let's learn from that and not repeat that mistake again. It would just be a travesty for our children.
And speaking of Judy, one thing that she had said, a big mistake was people didn't get out and vote. They just assumed it would pass. But you need to vote, and you need to vote yes. So please get out there before November 1 and vote yes.
No, you do need to vote. Just don't assume that, like you said, Joanne, that oh well, this is obvious. Of course this is going to pass. Of course this is going to happen. You cannot make that assumption. So, well, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That always goes so fast. But thank you for coming on, taking the time to come on. Time to get back to the music now with some Ben Harper, John Lennon, and Edwin McCain. But first, let's get a quick update from the National Weather Service.
With this morning KRIM weather.
See you later, guys.